Hello and welcome to our presentation, Diversity and Inclusion, a Practice of Change in an Elementary, Junior, and High School. This project was completed as a part of PS 4643, Occupational Globalization and Diversity by Diversity Group 2. Brad Crow, Melanie Dean, Narda Jaros, Elizabeth Shambaugh, and Lauren Wilbur collaborated on this project. Before we begin, let's take a look at the information that will be covered in today's presentation. We will look at the history of the district and the background of the project. We will identify the problem and take a look at demographics and statistics. We will explain the problem statement, review literature, and explain the phases of our project and expected outcomes. Before we move forward, please note that the name of our organization has been omitted from this presentation. The organization will be referred to as Rural School District and the town, Rural, Arkansas. History of the district. Rural School District includes an elementary, junior, and senior high schools. It started in 1903 as a small school in rural Arkansas. In 1921, a two-story concrete block structure was erected to include the elementary school and high school classes. The building was used for approximately 50 years. A new high school facility and a separate elementary with a new addition to the third structure built in the 1970s is located on two separate campuses. Background information. The school district the elementary and high school provide challenging curriculums, diverse courses, talented teachers, and outstanding athletic programs. Elementary and high school students perform well on annual standardized tests, earning high ranking in overall state statistics. Employment numbers on both the elementary and high school campuses included approximately 80 members. Here is an organizational chart to help you understand the chain of command in Rural School District. As you can see, the school board oversees the superintendent, and the superintendent oversees other faculty and staff members. What we really have is a team-based environment that is highly collaborative. Okay. Problem statement. There is a lack of diversity among races within the school district, student and faculty populations. The lack of diversity and inclusion-related initiatives that encourage change and educate from within. Leadership is not encouraged to promote a more diverse population stemming from a lack of diversity outside of the school. We have some demographics and statistics to help you understand more about rural Arkansas and the unique situation that Rural School District is set in. The population of the town is 1,714 people. The racial makeup of the city is 97.07% white, 0.2% black, 0.71% Native American, 0.02% Asian, 0.1% Pacific Islander, and 2.22% Hispanic or Latino. Rural Arkansas's average job growth was 0.09%, Data USA 2018. Although another statistic from Ed Matthews mentions that the household income grew from $20,526 to $24,000, which is a 16.9% increase with a population growth from 1,464 to 1,714, at a 17.1% increase, 2007. The highest paid job held by residents by median earnings are education, training, and library at $30,000 in 2016 as compared to $10,000 in 2013, Data USA 2018. This chart will help you understand more about the demographics in rural. As you can see, there is an issue with racial diversity. Now that you have background info on rural Arkansas, let's take a look at the problem statement. The Rural School District does not employ any minorities within their facility. The school system employs approximately 80 people with job descriptions as certified and non-certified staff members. Establishing growth within our system requires opportunities for employment by a variety of diverse individuals. The school system needs to address the lack of diversity and inclusion by expanding their search for open positions outside of rural Arkansas. This establishment also needs to address its bias toward only employing whites. Establishing accountability toward an understanding of why only whites work at our facility needs further attention. Job availability or salary could be a factor contributing to the lack of minority employees, although other factors including prejudice and bias need to be addressed as well. A top-down approach from a leadership perspective needs to take place to inform all members on how important diversity and inclusion are within their establishment. Essential aspects of a diversity and inclusion need to be in place to understand why all people are beneficial to the school environment. So what does the literature say about diversity in school districts? First, we'll look at D&I generally in the workforce. Then we'll look at D&I in education. Between 2016 and 2026, 38 million people will enter the labor force in the United States, which will include a more racially diverse labor force. Grissom, 2018. Diversity and inclusion are not new to the workplace, yet minorities remain underrepresented across top decision-making levels in the workforce. Minority women and men only represent 14.4% of board of directors across Fortune 500 companies, 2018. To combat this, organizations must change cultural norms and have open conversations about diversity. As the workplace becomes more and more diverse, leadership responsibilities have to change to meet the needs of the workforce. For example, leadership plays a key role in diversity and inclusion and is responsible for attracting, selecting, evaluating, promoting, and retaining a diverse staff. Ferdman and Dean, 2014. Additionally, leadership is ultimately responsible for the culture of an organization, which determines how people interact and feel about their workplace. To ensure success, organizations must focus on promoting policies, encouraging inclusion, and reviewing how employees are recruited, selected, evaluated, and promoted. Ferdman and Dean, 2014. At first, diversity and inclusion efforts can become overwhelming. However, leaders must remember that diversity and inclusion take time. According to Whitehead and Reichermeyer, quote, advancing D&I is a long-term process and not something for which an organization simply checks the box upon completion, end quote, 2017. However, one way to speed up this process is through recruiting. Relying primarily on internal references for new recruits will likely create the same demographic mix as the current employee base. Ferdman and Dean, 2014. Yet recruiting and hiring the most qualified applicants regardless of race, culture, gender, sexual orientation, or age can have a profound impact on diversity and inclusion. Sand, 2016. Nevertheless, new hires will not stay if they do not feel welcome in the organization's culture. Therefore, developing policies and talking about diversity will not suffice. Organizations have to make a commitment to embrace diversity, followed by directions and mandates that are consistent with this commitment. Now let's take a look at the education sector. The education sector is not exempt from diversity and inclusion. In fact, children of immigrants make up 20% of the children in the United States, which brings cultural and language differences to many classrooms. Sapin, Shaven, 2000. Tolerance and solidarity must start at the education level. Education and training systems have to teach people that racism and intolerance do not belong in our society. Fine, Davis, and Foss, 2014. Accomplishing this starts with training teachers on how to deal with issues of diversity and inclusion. According to Fine, Davis, and Foss, quote, almost half, 46.8% of teachers said that their initial training had included no training in equality or diversity issues. 42.4% said that it included these topics to some extent, and 10.8% said they received a great deal of training in this area, end quote, 2014. Once teachers have been trained regarding diversity and inclusion, they can focus on the school climate and make a commitment to embrace diversity. Now let's take a look at our program proposal. It will be presented. In Phase 1, we will have to start with the leadership perspective. Without having the correct leadership, this model will not work. Leaders within administration will provide D&I training modules through the local cooperative for employees at both campuses to participate in. The principals at both campuses require all members to take training modules related to harassment prevention and inclusion. This training can occur during the summer months and be used for professional development for faculty. Other incentives need to be in place for staff to participate as well. Phase 2, expanding influence. Leaders working on building trust between employees and students will help create an environment of trust. After building trust, it is time to expand the circles of influence. A network needs to be established at the school and community levels to recruit and implement mentoring programs from nearby colleges with diverse individuals who can bring awareness to our campus of the different social movements and cultures. By hiring minorities, faculty can help with biased attitudes and prejudice. Also, the school will be able to offer different programs to get the students and the community involved. With trust on our side, employees and students will accept new standards of diversity and inclusion. The employees will be able to demonstrate different cultures and educate students on diversified environments. Students will be encouraged to get involved in programs and clubs that express the relative nature of inclusion and diversity. This promotion of acceptance will become the perpetuity of the new existing atmosphere. Phase 4, outreach. Proactive outreach programs are necessary at the community and school levels to provide opportunities and bring in people of varying backgrounds. This will provide an equal opportunity for the growth and development within the school. Growth in the community is imperative to bring people in for jobs, creating more revenue and opportunity. Members of the community will address whether growth was essential enough to promote a more diversified environment by sourcing outside, ultimately bringing in more jobs into the area. We are excited about the expected outcomes. We expect that leadership accountability is essential in the public school and outside community as a means to address diversity and inclusion practices. The area needs growth through new businesses and furthermore, those businesses creating job opportunities. This can only happen if the town recognizes the need and decides to orient the change. The Weyerhaeuser model is not simple, but in order to complete and initiate the change, its process is crucial. In conclusion, we have talked about the history and background of rural school district. We have identified the problem, shared demographics and statistics, the problem statement, reviewed the literature on the subject, proposed a solution in 4 phases, and given expected outcomes. Our reference for this project are as follows. Thank you for listening. 4 phases with the purpose to encourage and implement a plan of action that will effectively promote diversity and inclusion within rural school district. By using the Weyerhaeuser model of inclusion, we will focus on 4 behaviors: building trust, expanding circles of influence, demonstrating a commitment to diversity, providing an equal opportunity for growth and development. The Weyerhaeuser model is taken from Ferdman, 2014. With these 4 behaviors, we should be able to start making changes at the rural school district for the elementary, junior, and high school. Rural Arkansas encompasses 192.65 square miles of landscape. The district is home to numerous established families as well as a growing number of young families. The school district serves the educational needs of those living in townships and surrounding communities. The school district is located in a historic setting, offering modern, up-to-date facilities while nestled in a small town setting. Many graduates of the high school excel in college, flourishing in long-term careers post-graduation.